It looks like we're live. I think so. We should be good. Make sure everything's going right. I think it's good. Let me know if you can't hear me. I think I've got everything set up right. So tonight, I'm working in acrylics. You can really follow along in most mediums. You'll have to alter your technique a little bit, but as far as the contrast, color choice, all that would be the same. I'm working with Liquitex Basics on a Frederick's Blue Label Ultra Smooth Canvas, and just for transparency, I am sponsored by Frederick's. But this canvas is really, really smooth, which means my blending is going to be much, much easier than if I were working on a canvas that had a more rough tooth, which when painting backgrounds like we're going to be doing, smooth, definitely going to make your life easier. Also, I don't think I have all my brushes up here. Yeah, I'm going to have to take care of that later. Okay, so let's see. Okay, Joseph says audio's live. I think he's got this set into a macro. Thank you. We're good. Okay. And I apologize. I was stupidly drinking bubbly water, which if you've not had this one, the blueberry pomegranate bubbly water, oh my gosh, it is amazing. But it also makes me burp, so I probably shouldn't have drank that right before the live stream. So I apologize if I'm a pig. It might happen. I'll try not to. So anyway... That is the canvas that I'm using. This is a 9x12. If you're going to paint, you're doing a paint along, I typically would recommend not going too big just for time's sake. But if you're going to keep pausing and then catching up and such, you can really paint this any size that you are comfortable with. And we may have to adjust the lighting on this a little bit as the sun goes down completely. Let's see. Hi, Carla. Hi, Swati. I apologize for butchering your name. Okay, so I'm going to, and I've also still got my allergies going, so we'll also listen to me cough throughout the stream. I apologize. I'm going to be doing a base on the background. It's not going to be quite the same as our reference photo. And if you do not already have this reference photo, you head over to patreon.com/Lachri. You don't have to be a member or sign up or anything like that, but you can download the photo I'm using. I got this one from Pixabay. I'm going to be doing a different background than what that reference photo has. I'm actually going to saturate, like oversaturate the background quite a bit for what that is. So I'm going to dip my brush in some water. We're going to be starting with some, this is the turquoise, I believe. Yeah, turquoise blue. And I'm just going to get this. Actually, I can make that go a lot faster if I knew where my spray bottle was. And I don't. So, okay, we won't do it that way. So I'll just keep adding more water to the paint as I go. I just want to get this painted one solid color fairly quickly because I need to get that upper section to be lighter as quick as possible. So I'm just kind of going every which direction. I'm going to blend out these brush strokes later. I want to just slap that paint on there. Use a lot of paint. If you are getting a rough look like here where it's kind of bumpy, that's a pretty good indication that you need more paint. Also, my paint looks really muted on that color, so I'll already have to adjust color after we get this layer on. Okay. So now, while this paint is still wet, and you gotta go quick, that's the drawback, I guess, with acrylics, but also the good thing. I'm grabbing some white. I'm just gonna, now I'm not adding a lot of water in addition to this color because I already have water on the canvas. This is still wet. And what I'm gonna do is just create a little bit of a lighter area so we can fade down, and I'm gonna do this in a slight U shape. Since we're underwater, we'll get that look, and I want to blend this. Now, here's the thing. You don't want to do so many brush strokes where you blend to where you have all medium blue instead of a light blue and a darker blue. We really want it to make sure that we've got both where it fades. And I'm letting that blend right on the canvas. I'll come through and make adjustments as needed later. To color, we can come back and if we want little rays of light, anything like that, we can do later. I'm going to blend this really quick, even though we're not totally done. I'm going to take a mop brush. My mop brush is actually a blush brush, and I want to smooth. Oops, that paint is too thick. So I'm actually creating a bit of a mess. That needs to sit a bit. I've got that paint on there really thick. So the brush, what happened is it picked up a bunch and it started creating horrible brush strokes. That's one of the things with a mop brush. You've kind of got to get the hang of getting, there we go. See, the texture is wrong, so I need to let that dry a little bit. I'm creating this like rough look that I do not want. I'm actually better just leaving the brush strokes from this brush than what I'm getting with that one. So I'm gonna let that set before I try to blend that out again. Did I swallow a frog? No, I have bad allergies, so I probably sound crazy. Is the audio bad besides my allergies? That might be a problem tonight. Unless you just mean from the soda. Or soda water, it's not really soda. Bubbly water. So while this is still wet, I'm going to rinse my brush off to get the white out. And I'm going to now take phthalo blue. I'm going to come right in the middle. Well, not middle, but pretty close. I'm just going to darken that up and let that fade into the color I had before. Again, not using a ton of water because it is thinned a bit, but I don't want too much water because I already have water on the canvas from that paint being wet. So we just get that nice transition now. Audio is really weird. Hold on. I'll have to mess with that after I get this layer because I've got a dry time issue. I'll see if I can fix anything with the water. No, it wouldn't have affected my voice. My voice sounds the same to me as it always does. I drink it all the time. You guys just know. I don't normally drink it right before the stream, but I drink it before recording my normal videos. So anyway, I'll come back. I was messing with the mic, so that might be the problem. Let's go with, now I've got my unbleached titanium white, and I'm going to mess with the audio in a second and see what that's sounding like. But right now this is going to dry, so I'm going to take some unbleached titanium white while this is still wet and put where the sandy bottom is going to be. And I usually do the opposite here, where I will get to where it's upside down to you, I guess. Yeah, I messed with the mic earlier, so I'm wondering if that's what the problem is. Okay, let's see if I can blend this without it gunking up again. There we go. So I'm just lightly taking that mop brush over this. Just get rid of most of those brush strokes. There we go. Now this is dried enough that I'm able to use the mop brush to soften out those brush strokes that I was just not able to earlier. Oh, I bet. Oh, it does sound good now? Okay. Yeah, I unplugged it and plugged it back in. It was pulling at a weird angle earlier, and I tried to fix it. So apparently my fixing it earlier was the opposite of fixing it. Okay, so this part I'm going to leave alone. I do want to get a little bit lighter down here. I may have to do that as a separate layer. We'll see if I can do it while it's still wet, though. I'm going to wipe the paint off that brush so I can get fresh unbleached titanium white. You have to remember, this is still wet, so the unbleached titanium white isn't going to come out like it does on the palette because it's blending in with the wet paint, that blue there. And I'll get caught up with your questions. Go ahead and ask away. I'll get caught up with those while we wait for this layer to dry. But I want to get this in. This is the thing with acrylic painting. You've got a time frame, when you, especially with the backgrounds, when you're trying to do something smooth like this. It's that hurry up before it starts to dry. You're very limited. I can't like stop and do anything really until that part is done. Okay, let's go ahead and take that mop brush again. It's a little bit wet. There we go, and there is our background. We've got a nice fade. So we've got the water surface, we've got a little hint of sand. Now, if we want, we can come back and make that more bold, but this works as a base. I am gonna put rays of light bouncing around on the sand, and probably on the water surface. We'll get kind of creative with that after this layer dries. So let me get my brushes cleaned up. You can see I've got a wet brush sitting here, I've got a wet one over here, or a dirty one. I need to get these clean and dry before they get messed up. With acrylics, with oils, if you're an oil painter, you know you can sit your brushes down. They're generally fine for hours. But with acrylics, we can't really do that. Clean off those brushes, get them so that they're ready to use again immediately. Because you just don't have time to be trying to wash and clean a brush while you're blending, but you also, it's easy to forget to set them down and completely forget and ruin them. I've done that a million times. So yeah. Get that all cleaned up now. Remember, don't ever leave your paintbrush sitting in the water. Rinse it out and then just set it to the side somewhere to dry. And set it flat. Don't set it to where it's like upright in a cup or angled down or anything like that. Just flat on a table. Okay, let's get, while this dries, actually I'm going to take a hairdryer to it and then we'll let it set while I answer some questions. Well, I think that's the fastest I ever got the majority of a background layer done in a live stream. Usually that takes a lot longer, but I do need to let this set a bit before I can go over it. I need to use a white charcoal. Well, I don't, but I'm assuming you guys probably, it'll make it easier for you. Use a white charcoal pencil to draw out my rays of light the way those are going to be. But because I had that paint so thick as I was blending it, that needs to set. Like, it's dry to the touch, but if I were to put paint on that, it's going to lift and pull up. So, and the pencil's not going to want to stick to it. So that needs to cool and set a bit. We'll go ahead and get caught up on questions. I've got to scroll away, a ways. Let's see. Heather said, where did you put all the wood that you used to take all your photos on? There would, where did I put it? They're my furniture, so they're still here, unless I'm thinking of something else. It's all my furniture. The photos, like photos of the artwork and stuff. I've got my workbench behind me, and I've got the dog crate. It goes over the girls, the Italian Greyhounds crate. That's in the other room. Like, it's all here, it's just in other rooms, unless I'm thinking of something else. The huge wood box that you used to take all your photos on. Huh, I'm not totally sure which one you're talking about. I don't know. Swati said, hi Lisa, I have a question. What are your opinions about the Frederick's watercolor canvas pads instead of normal Frederick's canvas pads? I recently bought it and the texture seems smoother. If it seems smoother, go with it. I haven't used them. I need to call them or email them tomorrow because I need to place a big order. We've been doing so many paint-alongs and going through these canvases pretty quick. So I need to contact them tomorrow anyway, or this week sometime I need to email them. So I'll ask them about that and see if I can get some so I can try them out. But if they're smoother and they're working for you, I would probably go with those. I would think that would be a better option. I'll have to ask though. Let's see. Thank you for all your live streams over the years. I had to host a ton of webinars with work lately, and I get so nervous and just say, okay, act like Lisa would act when she's talking to us. I don't know if that's a good advice. Cough like Lisa coughs. I think I make a fool of myself more than I would necessarily recommend anyone do. That's cool though. I'm glad I could help in whatever way that was. You know, it's funny, when I first started recording myself, I had a really, really hard time being on camera because it's very weird being on camera and talking to a computer when you're technically in a room by yourself. And I had to get in my head, I'm not in a room by myself. You guys are here with me. I'm talking to you. Same thing even if I'm recording by myself, I'm still talking to you. And that when trying to realize, and so it's funny you doing these webinars. If you ever wanted to be a YouTuber, those webinars are good practice for you. Maya said, have you considered using software like StreamYard to simulcast, I can't talk, to Facebook and YouTube at the same time? I know you've been wanting to try a Facebook Live. I've not even looked into it. Hold on. I was smart today. I know, we're all shocked. But I brought a pad of paper so I can write notes, because you guys always suggest stuff and I never have anything to write it down. Hold on. Do I not have a pen? Did I bring this and not a pencil? Seriously? Oh, here's one. Colored pencil. What did you call it? You said StreamYard. I will look into that. Thank you. My notes over there so I can, if you guys suggest anything else tonight, I can write all those notes down. See, this is what I spent extra time for, and somebody's going to complain because I'm telling personal stories, and that's when I always get some nasty lady that complains about stuff like that. It's not even the same one. They just keep finding me. But I finally ordered, I ordered a while ago, but Amazon's delivery stuff's all messed up right now. My patio chairs, I got 2 patio chairs today. So I spent a lot of time outside putting them together, hence the extra coughing. Let's see. Got that. I was scrolling through the sound things. We got that all taken care of. What program do you use or recommend for editing videos for YouTube? I am using Adobe Premiere Pro, but honestly, if you're just getting started, I probably wouldn't recommend that because it was a little bit complicated to get used to, and the only reason I kind of transitioned easier into it is because I was using something that was similar but easier before, which was, what was that? Power Director. It's fairly, at least it was, I have not looked into it lately, but I was using Power Director. It was much more inexpensive. I could buy a program. I didn't do, once they switched to like trying to get you to do a monthly thing or an annual thing, I was like, yeah, I'm out. If I'm going to do that, I'll just do, Adobe Premiere Pro. But the Power Director I was very happy with for many years, and it was much, much, much cheaper than Adobe Premiere Pro. And I love Adobe products mostly, but it's very expensive for me to do that and Photoshop Lightroom. Like I have the whole packet, the whole thing or whatever. It's like, gosh, I want to say like $60 a month. Worth it for you if it's your job. I mean, it's part of my job. It's a tax deduction. But when I was just getting started, that was not an option. And so I would say if you're just starting out, Power Director would be one that worked. It was Cyberlink Power Director, I believe. And that worked really well for me for years. The Adobe Premiere Pro has more that you can do with it, but you really don't need all that stuff, especially when you're starting out. Let's see. Did that just miss somebody? No, I think we're good. Carol said, so excited to paint this guy. Love your live streams. They're so inspiring. Thanks. And thanks for joining me. Let's see. I tagged you in a post on MeWe that I really want you to see. I'll have to go look at that. I need to use MeWe more, and I still hope that they take over Facebook, but I guess I'm one of the problems of why it wouldn't. I'm not using it as often as I should because the app, I had some problems with getting it to do what I needed it to do, and I'm like, oh, I'll just go look at it on my desktop, and then I never did, and I need to go over there because I love the platform. I need to use it more. Carlene said, can I blow dry the mop brush after washing it if I don't have a spare? You can, but I never had great success with that. Like it still is, I had better success getting it really dry on paper towels, dry paper towels, and just squeezing that in. The hair dryer, like if it was wet all the way into the base, that was a problem. So one tip for the mop brush, when you rinse that out, if this is your cup of water, don't dip it all the way in the water. Just the tips. Only the tips should be, I can't say that without having a
an Archer reference pop in my head, but just the tips of the bristles are all you should be getting paint on, so that's all you should need to rinse. And if you can just do that, then you can dry it on a paper towel and usually have it ready to go fairly quickly. So hopefully that will, hopefully that'll work for you. Whoops, that just scrolled way too far. That just jumped. Where were we? I think it was Baby Panda said, "Hi Lisa, for Friday Rose paint along, I only have a small set of watercolor pencils. Will that be a problem to do the red rose? Can I I can't talk. Can I mix basic colors to do what you will be doing?" Absolutely, and it's super simple, the colors. You can do any background color you want. You can do just black if you want. The reference photo was actually black. I changed it to have a little bit more color in it. But no, any color you want, because like always, we're going to be working on our values. Light's light enough, dark's dark enough. You can make your rose purple if you want. Doesn't matter. So yes, a small set is definitely fine. Troy said, when it comes to colored pencils, do you prefer mineral spirits over powder blender or vice versa? To me, it almost feels like two different mediums, so I like them both. Because I don't like to do the same thing over and over and over again too much. Like, you guys have seen this. I mix up my mediums all the time. That keeps art more interesting to me. But I like them both. I don't see myself giving up one for the other. There's just certain things that I want to work with OMS, certain things I just want to work with powder blender and work on sanded paper. It depends on what mood I'm in, honestly. But I like both methods. So I can't say that I really prefer one to the other. I think they're both awesome ways to blend. Let's see. Sergio said, I'm pretty sure your hairdryer must assume he's an airplane given how much it's used. Are airplanes used a lot? I don't understand the reference. Heather said, I don't fly often. There's probably a reference I just don't get in there. Heather said, it was a workbench. Oh yeah, the workbench is it's behind me. I don't know. You can probably see the table covered in all the crap behind me. Yeah, that's where that is. Let's see. And don't worry, we're going to get to painting. Letting that set. Joshua said, hello, I just joined your Patreon the other day. Thank you and welcome. Do you have a specific place that you would recommend someone who has never painted in acrylics before? Yes. There's a painting of a copper-banded butterfly fish in acrylics. Start there. I walk you through. That's a really good basic step by step. Like, it's a simple one. You'll succeed following along with that. So it gives you that like instant, I can do this feeling. Yes. Look at it's an intro to, I did the video here. It's the intro to acrylic painting, but it's a copper banded butterfly. That one's a good one. Phil said, what is your experience with Teespring? Thinking about trying merch. My experience has been decent. I'm always surprised when I saw someone bought something because I want to make some more. I have some ideas for some different teas. I got one from a friend of mine who is Sam Scales. He's an artist and he had a cuttlefish. And I bought that tea because you want to support your fellow artists, especially right now. And so he had posted that he just has these t-shirts now and I got all excited. So I ordered a cuttlefish, and part of me was like, it's because I want to support your notes and I wanted a cuttlefish t-shirt. But anyway, I got that from him and it gave me some ideas on some other designs that I want to use with Teesprings. But the shirt, I have a sweatshirt that I got from them with the one of them that's in the shop. I love it. My coffee cup I've been happy with. Yeah, everything I've gotten from them, everything. It was two things. I think one of my friends might have gotten something else. But I've been happy with what I've ordered from them. So it's something that I want to, and I've been saying I was going to, but I'm even more motivated after seeing my friend's cuttlefish shirt when I saw it in person and I loved it. I don't know, he didn't use Teespring. I'm not sure who he used, but it gave me ideas I want to do for my own. So I've been happy with it. The thing is with art, when you're trying to make money with art, I guess I can look for my pencil while I chat. The thing that with being an artist is that you want to diversify your income stream. You don't want your income in all one place. Now for me, mine is primarily Patreon, which is always worrying because if something happened there, it's like, oh, and now I can't pay my house payment anymore. So that's a thing, but you're gonna stop and drink coffee. You're going to want to have multiple things. So like I have my Amazon affiliate links. I have my Teespring. I have Fine Art America. I have the ability to, which I never push, but I can sell originals. You want multiple areas where you've got income. So if one fails, you've got the others to back you up. So, and again, unfortunately for me, so much of mine is focused on Patreon. So that can be scary. Hopefully Patreon continues to do well, but you know, and the ad revenue from YouTube, you've got multiple sources there. And so Teespring is just one. It's a small one for me, but it's in there every once in a while. I'll log in. I'm like, oh, I've got $60. You know, I may make only $60 in 4 months. But at $60, I could buy some kind of new camera thing or whatever. The GoPro harness. See, look, I paid for the GoPro harness and the thing that I bought for Gibson because everyone wants to see what his life is like, I guess. I don't know. But I mean, every little thing helps, and so that's really what it is. It's just one of many income revenues. So I recommend it. Jason said, you got caught up with some Karens. Yes, I did get caught up with some Karens for sure. Dawn said, will you be adding all the background shapes as well as the Manatee? Trying to figure out if I should sketch in the Manatee on the whole canvas. So no, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a few rays of light, or like little ripples of water surface, I should say. On the top, I'm going to have some rays of light like kind of bouncing around on the bottom here. And that's the extent I'm going to do on the background. I'm not copying the reference photo. That is much more elaborate than what we have time to do in 2 hours. So I'm doing something that is a more simplified version. I would call it my version, like my style. This is something that I painted. I used to paint stuff like this for art shows, because I could do it really quickly and sell them for less. And so this was fairly popular, this design for the background. So that's what we're doing here. This is more of my own design. So let's see, get caught up real quick. Carl, oh wait, and it jumped. Trying to get caught up before we jump into painting. Oh my gosh, I'm missing a lot. Hold on. I need to answer questions faster. Carla said, hi, I have asked this question before, but my memory is not what it used to be. Well, my memory's never been good, so I can relate. Using colored pencil, do you layer with polychromos first and luminous, or vice versa? It makes zero difference. So whichever, it doesn't matter. They work both together over each other. Alyssa said, I for one like hearing little bits about what's going on in your life, or any streamer for that matter. It makes for a more personal connection. That's what I thought. I want to hear those little tiny stories. Like, I think they're fun. But yeah, some people you're not going to be able to see this at all. So there's almost no reason for me to sketch this out. Is this showing? I don't think that's going to show. No, you can't see those lines. I'm just going to freehand those. So the lines that I'm doing right now, you can use a white charcoal pencil if it makes you more comfortable, so that you can see which direction, how you want the water to go. Now, the big thing here is your lines, and I'll explain this again as I go. You want to follow that U shape, and then here, these ones will be more flat. I don't know if these show. It would make my life easier if it did. A little bit it shows. The sketchy lines here, where it's going to look like just the water, the light kind of bouncing around on the surface of the stand. We want them long and thin. So you've got long line, little zigzag, long line, little, or diagonal. That's what we're going to be working on. So let me get my brushes set up, and I'm going to get started, and then I'll answer some questions as we work there. So here is one of very few cases. I find a flat brush to work pretty well. This one might be too big. Let's find out. Now here's that right there, where I said, maybe this will work, maybe it'll be too big. Let's try it, let's find out. That is an attitude you want to have as an artist. We have this idea of, if you just don't know what brush to use, I don't know what to use, I'm going to just stop and not do anything because I don't know which brush to use. I don't know which brush to use. I know I like a flat, but I don't think, oh, this one might be better. No, that's not. That might work though. But I don't know if this is going to work for me. I'm going to try it. If I make a brush stroke and realize I hate this, I'm going to put it down and I'm going to grab a different one. This one's not in really good condition. Actually, I'm certain I can already see the bristles fraying. That's not going to work. But when you're painting, you're always experimenting. Don't worry about always knowing exactly what to do. You're not going to. You're going to experiment nonstop, constantly, forever. For the whole time you're painting, that's always what you're doing. I have this little brush holder. It came with something, I think, with Artbox. Ooh, flats. These will work. That was a lucky find. If you have not, by the way, been, and I have to make some videos on these, the Smart Art Box, man, have they improved. I liked them before. Oh my gosh, they're even so much better. I need to do some videos. Okay, so what I'm going to do is take white. There can be a little bit of teal or turquoise in there. Doesn't really matter. Point is that it's lighter than what I had. And I'm going to do these little long diagonal short, or long kind of horizontal long. It would be amazing if I could communicate. Long, short diagonal, long. That is the shape that we're doing here as we kind of zigzag through here. What we don't want, I think, let's show that because that is just as important. What we're not looking for is this. This is not going to look like water. What we're doing is long, short, long, short, long, and we're going to build those up as we go through. This constant zigzag or coming down at an angle like that is not going to give you the look that we are going for here. Okay, let's see. For a beginner YouTuber, which is more profitable for an art channel, demos or tutorials? How did you decide on the content that was best for your channel? I think you have to try things and see what works best for you. So these live streams had been doing better for me. Right now, this one's not performing terribly well. But lately, these have been getting me more views than the edited videos. So you've got to be willing to kind of adjust as needed by what's working. So if one thing isn't working, try something else. That's a big thing. I mean, it's the same thing with art. If something's not working for you, try something else. Right now, originally when I started with YouTube, it was if you went over 3 minutes, you lost the viewer. So you had to keep your videos super, super sped up, super short. Now it's almost the opposite. Now people are looking for longer things that they can leave on like it's a TV, like they're watching TV. Because people watch YouTube. Like me, I don't have cable, or I have internet cable, but not cable TV. So I don't watch TV. If I want to watch something, I put something on YouTube or sometimes Netflix, but usually I just watch vlogs and stuff on YouTube. So now we like things, or the viewers are going for stuff that's longer. So you have to adapt. You constantly follow what the trend is as far as the type of, I don't want to say the content as much as, because you want to create the content that's like true to what you do, but the length, that sort of thing, I guess, you'll adjust as it goes on. So right now, the live streams are doing better for me than anything I've edited, which is funny because the live streams they're exhausting, but they're also easier. I don't have to edit them. So it's kind of a funny thing. I'm going to switch now to more teal, just slightly lighter than what my background is. I'm going to overlap that a bit in there so I get some variation, so that kind of soft transition here. Most of this is going to get covered by the Manatee. You won't see a lot of these as I get down towards the middle. But yeah, so for how I decided, I'm constantly changing. I still don't know. Like right now I'm going, how many of these edited videos should I be doing if the live streams seem to be what people are more interested in? So yeah, I don't know if I decided as much as everyone else decided for me, because you're just playing around with, or experimenting with what is going to work. What are people watching? What are people not interested in? So I don't know if that helps. Watch video creators. Tim Schmoyer, video creators here on YouTube, gives you great tips and great advice on that sort of thing, on marketing and branding and all of that too. You've got a lot of really good advice you can get from him. So see how I followed that down in the, this is really white, so let's tone that down with some blue. So I'm going back over some of these that are a little bit obnoxious. Okay. But yeah, for me, I mean, it was a little bit easier just in figuring out, because I did the time lapse because I just wanted something to put on my website. I didn't start YouTube with the intent of growing. I didn't even know you could subscribe to somebody on YouTube when I started. So that was a bit of a surprise for me. So yeah, I feel like I kind of fell into everything more than had a definite plan, because back when I started, you didn't have people who could teach you or give you advice. There was no one, there was nothing. It was just throw it up and see if people like it. So that now there's a lot of advice. And so now I do things a little bit different on how I make that decision versus what I did. But yeah, I mean, I look at the views right now. this one isn't, and you never know what YouTube's going to recommend to people. But like I said, these live streams are getting me so much more traction that I'm like, maybe I should do more of these. And I'm doing the 2 a week right now. And now I'm like, well, maybe that's what I should keep doing. I don't know. We'll see. I just rambled and did not answer your question, huh? I apologize. The answer to that, I don't know. Watch video creators though. You will get a lot more information or ideas on what's working. By the way, back to the painting here, I'm using white. There's a little bit of blue mixed into it, but it's thinned out with water. I'm using a flat brush and I'm holding it to the side so it kind of works like a liner brush, and I'm zigzagging back and forth. See how it's long, short, long, short. These aren't squiggles. They're not little waves. They're fairly defined when I do the diagonals. And they're very flat. So these ones up here were rounded. This I flattened out. This is the surface, the sand. Now as I get back there, I'm going to switch back to the blues. And I think he'll cover a lot of that. You're not even going to see half of that. But let's go ahead and switch more to blue so we just get a hint where it fades into the background. Go even more blue. Yeah, deciding what I want to do, that is something that I'm constantly asking myself too. I'm trying to figure out what you guys want to see. There's no point in me making a video that no one's interested in. So yeah, that's kind of a constant question I think you have as a YouTuber. You can even pull a few little reflections of darker ones up here with that same blue, get a little bit of extra detail. It's subtle. You're barely going to see it. But it looks nice. Now, if you went ahead and drew all this with the white charcoal pencil, don't erase it yet. Just wait till the whole painting's done and dry. It is so, I can't tell you how many times I've gone to erase those marks and the painting wasn't dry in that area and you end up with a big smudge of paint that you went over with the eraser with. It's not cute. Don't do it. Okay. We can come back and add more if we want to later, but that's where I'm going to leave that. I'm going to go ahead and dry this, and then I'll get caught up on some questions while we wait for that to set. Jeannie said, is a fur brush the same as a rake brush? Yes, it should be. I know the Bob Ross one, I think they list theirs as a fur brush, and it is a rake brush. Moody Roan Studio said, was watching one of your older live streams and noticed that you said you like the Simply Simmons brushes. The brush guys carry those and many others at great prices. They are awesome. Nice. I've never heard of them. I enjoy these classes. Thank you for doing this. You're welcome. Thanks for joining. Michaela said, any tips on adding depth to a landscape? I'm having a hard time with it. And any tips on painting grass? So there are several ways that you can really get the depth in in a landscape. So one is to have the colors further in the background cooler, like more blue tones, purples, blues. Have that in the background of those landscapes. And as you move your way forward, start introducing more and more yellows. Start warming things up as you move forward. And this can help create a lot of depth. That alone can make a big difference. The next thing may be not to include so much detail in what's in the background. Now, I overdo things. I don't have any in here. I really overdo the liking the blurry background, even kind of in a landscape, which typically landscapes you may still do more detail than I do. But maybe it's because I don't do straight landscapes that often. I typically have the landscape as a background, so it makes sense for it to be blurry. Thinking out loud and rambling. But for me, I'm not going to put as much detail typically. The further back I go, the less detail I'm going to include. You may have detail, just the lines aren't as harsh or as crisp. And when I move forward, I'm going to get much more harsh and crisp on those lines. And then tips on painting grass. You can use a rake brush. Those work. But even if I use a rake brush to get those nice wisps, I'm going to come back there with a liner brush and get highlights, redefine a few of those. The thing is, when you're painting, whether it be a landscape, an animal, whatever it is that you're doing, it's very easy. And I know for me, when I started painting marine life, and I would look at artists who painted all of this detailed coral, and I had in my head that there was just a trick to do it fast. There's no trick. If you're trying to go for realism, the trick is to slow down. There's no quick, oh, I've got it done in 2 minutes. It just doesn't work. And that slowed me down for years because I kept trying different sponges and different things. And I would sponge it. You could tell it was coral. I mean, it kind of looked like, kinda, I guess, but it wasn't what I wanted. I wanted that detailed look. I wanted it to look like a photograph without putting the work into it, apparently. And you've got to put the work into it. Slow down, work one little square inch at a time, and you're gonna sit there with a liner brush. You can use the rake to speed things up, but you're still gonna come back through with that liner, get those individual blades. It's taking the time. And usually when I paint grass, I like to do a darker undertone, so like a dark green, almost black green, like dark. And then I layer my lights, so I'll come back on top of that with a mid-range green, and then a lighter green, and then a highlight that's almost yellow or white. But I do this in stages. So it's time consuming. You're gonna take your time and really zoom in on that reference photo, whichever area of the grass you're working on, and take your time. That was such a big lesson for me to learn, and I wish I had learned it earlier in my career because I made a lot of, they were rushed crap because, I mean, it was part of the learning process, so I don't regret it, but I could have been better sooner if I had slowed down and not realized there's no trick to having it done overnight. The paintings I was looking at, I was trying to get done in less than a week that someone probably spent 6 months on. So just to give you, and that's maybe an over exaggeration, but I mean, really slow down and just paint what you see. Get a good reference photo and paint what you see. Gypsy Heart said, out of all the pigment marker pieces you have made so far, have you run out of any of your colors yet? I just bought a full set of them and curious how long they will last. Nope, I've not run out of anything yet with those. They seem to last a pretty long time, at least on the Yupo paper. I think if I were working on like a marker paper or some other paper, they would probably run out faster, but no, they've lasted a really long time. Oh, thank you. W Leon Artistry, we Leon, for the $2 super chat. Yay, thank you. Oh, goosebumps. I'm like, seriously, you can't see, but I'm such a dork. That like always makes me so excited. Hold on, I'm scrolling way up because this jumped and I missed a whole bunch. Oh my gosh, I missed a bunch. Okay, I need to yes I do. I need to rush through these and answer without ranting or rambling. I don't know. Oh my gosh, I'm missing so many questions here. Here we go. Okay. Ali said, when glazing with acrylic, which medium is better, gloss medium or matte medium? I like gloss. I like glazing medium, which is a gloss, is what I go with. That's my preference. Sarah said, I put together a couple of my painting designs on mugs and stuff, put them for sale on Teespring. I haven't been pushing sales though. Yeah, I'm mentioning it to people. That'll help. Where's the reference photo for Friday's roast? I have not uploaded it yet to Patreon. I'm setting these up. It takes forever, and I was half asleep last night. Again, I was trying not to mess anything up. So, like, I usually have the wrong dates and the wrong everything. So that I will upload tomorrow, and then you guys will be able to, or post it tomorrow over on Patreon, and you'll be able to download it. You don't have to be a member to get it. Just head over to patreon.com/Lachri, and that reference photo for the rose will be there. It came from Pixabay, but I modified mine. Nancy said, I have folded damp paper towels and dry ones near my palette. I use these specifically for cleaning the mop brush quickly without getting the bristles too wet. Now that is genius. So that would be similar to what I have here. I have a paper towel sitting, I don't know if you can see it here. It's damp. I use it to actually wipe off. I use it, well, part it keeps my paint wet, but I use it to wipe off the razor blade thing guy here, which actually I do need to clean a spot while we're sitting here. But that would work. You could, if you had a clean one that was damp, you could rub that, the tip of the mop brush on to get it clean enough anyway to work quickly. That's a great idea. Maya said, could we please have a photo of Wade and Gibson doing the zoomies for one of the Patreon photos? I'm not having much luck finding a Greyhound mid-stride to paint. If I could get one, absolutely. Getting it is the challenge. They're so hit or miss on when they break out into zoomies, and it's usually with these two about 1 or 2 in the morning. So, or midnight or so. Not the best time for taking photos. So yeah, if I can get one, I absolutely will give that to you. And I probably wouldn't even include it as one of the Patreon ones because it's not going to be good, but at least it would be usable. So I'm not good at action shots, but yes, no, I want some for me too. So yeah, it's something that I need to try to do. But like I said, it's so hit or miss. Like I'll be in the room, let Wade out really quick, come back in here, and he'll be doing his laps. By the time I'm back out, he's done. So those laps do not usually last very long. They have that moment of high speed for like 30 seconds and then they're passed out. Like you see, well, you can't see them. They're passed out for hours. So yes, I would like to. Let's see. But not so much with Wade. Wade doesn't do the full stride. Wade, you know those little plastic horses you play with as a kid and you make them run and they just kind of toddle this way? Yeah, that's how Wade runs. He doesn't run normal. He doesn't have the full extension of his hindquarters. I just think he's just badly bred. Gibson does though, so we'll have to look into that or try. Let's see. Hey Lisa, Dan here. I've been experimenting with media and I found some success using charcoal and chalk and soft pastels with a swab. Don't worry about burping. Everyone does. No one cares. Yeah, I try not to do it on camera though. But that's cool. Yeah, that would work. Brent said, I agree. The Smart Art boxes have improved big time. They were good and fun before, but now they're even better. Yeah, every time I open them, I'm like, holy crap, how are you guys able to afford to include all this? The brochure is better. The instructions are so much more elaborate. Like everything, they really upped that. And like I said, I liked them before. They are amazing now. Sneak said, hi everyone. Hello. Gypsy Heart said, I purchased large individual sheets of Canson Metans and Stonehenge. They took so long to get here. I forgot exactly what each is best for. Thoughts? You're going to have to experiment. That's going to be complete personal preference. I use them both for colored pencil and both with odorless mineral spirits. But it really is going to, like the style and all of that, you're just going to have to experiment and have fun and figure out what you like. What I would recommend, cut them down into smaller pieces, maybe a 5x7, and try to do the same project on both and see which you are enjoying more, which is giving you the results that you are looking for. Because they're very, very different paper. Remember with the Canson Metans, the smooth side is what you want. Rachel said, I have a very old set of Derwent watercolor pencils. They're about 15 years old. Will they still work on Friday's stream? They should. Unless they got ruined somehow, like water in them or something, they should work fine for you. Sneak said, it could be because we're all stuck at home, like the people contact, and like the people contact. I don't remember what that's in reference to, and I apologize. These questions are so far away, my brain can't. I don't remember most things anyway, so I apologize. Mary Beth said, love the live streams. Thank you for doing these. Question regarding the pen pastels. Have you ever applied them to a background and used, a wet brush for a painterly effect? I've not. Have you? What happened? I'm curious what would happen with that. I've not tried that. Shannon said, we would all love if you kept up the 2 live streams a week. It's like getting together with friends twice a week and still be in our PJs. Yeah, exactly, huh? Yeah, I have a feeling that instead of as many, because I was going to try to do more vlogs, but I'm like, if these are working, as long as people are watching, we'll see. Shannon, we got that one. Scrolling, I think, are we almost caught up? Oh, and it jumped. Crap. I thought we were almost caught up too. I'm going to just assume this is where it was. I was wondering if light fastness has been improved with Inktense blocks. I sell my work and I'm concerned about that. Thanks so much. I don't think there's been any, as far as I know, they haven't changed the formula at all, so it should all be the same as it's always been. Miriam said, hi Lisa, hope you're doing well. So glad you're painting these water ripples and reflections. Thank you. Always ready to stretch that artist muscle. Thanks for joining, Miriam. Jamie said, I'm looking for a good airbrush. What do you recommend? I recommend the Grex airbrush kit right now is like my favorite. I have a link if you go to my website under acrylic painting. I did update my acrylic. So for the supplies that I use, go to lachri.com and under the menu for supplies, go down to acrylics and that's where the airbrush stuff is listed. But I updated that page. Finally, now I need to do the colored pencil one. But it's all listed there that I recommend. I really like it. I'm very, very happy with Grex. The Iwata is also good and Tamiya, I used that. That one was good too. The hairdryer reminds me of my wife getting ready for work and I'm still sleeping. Yeah, I remember that as a kid when my sister or my mom was using it while I was trying to sleep. Let's see, my 7-year-old wants me to tell you he loves your art. Thanks for the live streams. Tell your 7-year-old thank you. Carla said, oh, That scroll. There we go. Carla said, love the pictures on Patreon of the Greyhounds. Adorable. Love your Patreon. Thank you. I've got some more Greyhound photos for you guys. I'm not going to, maybe a couple of them I'll include this month, but I took a bunch more that came out really good, so I've got a few more that I'll include. But this month, because still we're not, going out to zoos or anything right now, so I've got a friend who's a photographer who will give me some photos to give to you guys, and then I'm going to take some photos, some still lifes, I'll go to the grocery store and get roses again, so we'll get some more flowers. I'll see if I can do something creative or fruit or something. But I'll give you guys the ones that I took this week too, or last week. Mary said, pen pastel and water work amazing for backgrounds. I think you would enjoy this. I have to try that. What kind of paper did you use that on? Beek said, is Cansen's pastel mat good for colored pencils, graphite too? Is pastel mat Cansen? I didn't know. I thought it was Clairefontaine. Is that Cansen? I don't think it's Cansen. Pastel mat, which I thought was, now I'm questioning myself. I don't know, I think the paper's in the other room. My pad, I can't look at it. But pastel mat, if we're talking about the same stuff, the pastel mat is great. That's what I did the kitten I posted over on Instagram. That's what I used for that. It's amazing. But for graphite too, that I don't know. Colored pencil, absolutely. I've not tried it for graphite. I have no idea what those results would be. Okay, good. We are caught up. I'm going to go ahead and do the next step. So hopefully you've already drawn out your manatee, and I drew that on a piece of tracing paper, and this is going to save me so much time because I can position him where I want. I'm just going to tape that on there. Grab my transfer paper. I'm using white transfer paper. Your transfer paper does not need to be the same size as your artwork because you can slide it around wherever you need. I think mine actually is about the same size, but it's unnecessary. So now what I'm going to do is take this little stylus guy, and I'm going to draw over my manatee. And this does a couple of things. One, and this doesn't matter, this method of tracing and transfer paper, even if you prefer to freehand your stuff, you can still use this method to get the artwork cleanly on your canvas. So you don't have a bunch of eraser marks. I know when I freehand, I'm erasing things constantly. And so I end up with those eraser marks all over. I want to keep my canvas clean. So if I'm going to freehand, more often than not, I'm going to do that on another piece of paper, like just whatever, some not high quality paper, draw on that and then trace it onto my tracing paper, and then I can transfer it and have nice clean lines without having to do a bunch of erasing on the artwork itself. And here's the other great thing, and I don't really need to do it now, but let's say with this guy, I wanted to paint him yellow. Obviously, I'm not going to do that. No one worry. But if I wanted to paint him yellow, if I put yellow paint on top of the blue background, I'm just going to tint it yellow. I'm going to get this weird green look. I'm not going to get yellow. I would have to paint him white first and then yellow. But if I painted him white, then I lost all of those details inside. So what I could do is paint him white, let it dry, paint it yellow, take my tracing paper, put it back over, and redraw in the details on top of that. Like, this really is just such a time saver, and it keeps your work so nice and clean. And I'll probably do that here to get his eye in the right place. I don't want to sit there and make sure it's perfect. So I already took the time to draw it out. Why would I do it again? So there is our guy. You can see how he's positioned on there. I don't know that I'll bother with painting fish tonight, but let's go ahead and get him started. And so with him, I want it to be gray or a grayish tone, but not just straight black and white gray. I want to have a tint or that hint of the blue or the teal colors, the turquoise color that we've got here, so it looks like he's in the water. If I were just to paint him gray, yes, he's gray. But if I paint him just flat gray, he looks like he's a sticker cut out and stuck on top of the artwork, or the background. It's not what we want. We want him to look like he's in the water. And one of the ways you're going to do that is use the color from your background into that gray. So I'll mix the gray with the black and the white, and then I'm going to pull that into the turquoise into it. Let's see, a couple questions here. Casey said, do you think you could do graphite piece on sanded paper for one of these lives? I don't know. Graphite and sanded paper is not how I want. Not for sanded paper for sure. Wouldn't be my choice. Too messy for me. I like the results I get with graphite just on a smoother surface. I've mentioned it before, but it has been a while. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to try it on sanded paper. I don't know. Maybe I'll change my mind and be in the mood for it randomly, but right now that just doesn't sound like fun. Well, that and you're going against, if I want pure white, I have to use my expensive Lux Archival. I'm not wasting that paper. That is expensive paper. I'm not wasting it on graphite. I love graphite work, but I can get the results I want just fine on other paper. So I might test it on something like Fisher 400 or something that's cheaper that I don't care as much about because it's not acrylic, since the background is not actually acid free. That or the, what was the other one? UArt. So I might test it on that, but just the way it's messy, I don't think it's going to give me the results that I like. I'm not saying you could make something cool with it. I don't think it's for me. Pastel matte, maybe. Actually, I would be more interested. No, I don't know. Is that a mural on your wall? It sort of, it's a background with like, it's almost like a stenciled mural. Like it's, I didn't use stencils, but it's not a detailed, but yeah, it's painted. I need to do a tour in here soon still. Big said, sorry, I meant me Tens pastel pad. What is the difference? You said the Canson Me Tens for, oh, okay. Canson Me Tens pastel pad. You were talking about using colored pencil on that? I would think it would be fine. Use the smooth side. It should work fine for you. Monica said, I'm excited for Friday's live stream. I have a 12 set of the Faber-Castell watercolor pencils. Can't wait to use them. Decided to do a black and white rose in pastels while watching tonight. Nice. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and fill this guy in. Which brush do I want? I'm going to use another No One Shop, a Teflon bristled filbert. This one is one of the Master's Touches. This is a number 4. My box came from them. I ordered from Hobby Lobby a bunch of these. Links, by the way, on my website. They're not affiliate links either on those. I'm not like trying to get you to buy them to make money. It makes no difference to me other than they're awesome. And I put the links to the ones I'm using there. Okay, so what I'm going to do is add some water. I'm going to start by mixing a light gray color. And some of this blue is going to mix into it. It's fine because I'm going to add the blue anyway. So we're going to pull those colors together. Too dark. Let's pull some more white. Some more water in that. Now I'm going to go ahead and pull that teal or turquoise or whatever it is. Maybe a little bit darker. Now this doesn't have to be perfect because like everything, this is a layering process. If it's too light, we're going to add darks and lights on top of this. We can counter and adjust for that as needed. So don't get too worked up about mine isn't perfect. It doesn't really need to be. This is just a start. So I'm going to go ahead and fill him in. And I want to do when I want the smooth brush stroke, see how I do long brush stroke there? One long brush stroke. If you do this, bunch of little brush strokes, he's bumpy. He's not smooth. Just try to get that one long brush stroke. If your brush is drying out, you need to load more paint and more water on it. A lot of people, especially when they're new, like to not use enough paint or water on the brush. Load that guy up. And then I can fill it in once he's lined in. And I don't care if this is perfectly smooth. I don't need to try to fan this out. We're going to be putting layers on top of him. And you'll see what I mean in a second here. I'm just going to paint right over the details where his mouth is going to go. And when we dry this, I'll use the tracing paper again to put that back in. We'll just fill that in. Now, while this is still wet, I can go ahead. I'm going to rinse my brush. I'm going to get a lighter white. There's some blue in there. I'm going to get it a little bit lighter on his belly while it's still wet so I can get that wet into wet blending. I don't care if I go over his fin there. We'll just blend that down. He's got lighter areas on his head, so let's go ahead and give him that. It's okay if my brush strokes show. I don't need to try to perfectly blend anything here. So one of the mistakes, talking about mistakes I made when I was younger, one of them was that I would blend everything. If I made a brush stroke, it was getting blended every single time. I didn't want any brush stroke showing. In my head, if there was a brush stroke showing, I wasn't doing a good job. well, everything I did looked like plastic. So you don't need to overblend these things. You can let those brush strokes show because those brush strokes end up looking like detail. Unintentional detail, but detail. It really works out well. So don't feel like every little thing has to be blended out. It absolutely does not. It's okay for those brush strokes to show and actually desirable in many cases. Okay, I'm going to rinse that brush out. Let's get some of the darks in there now. Let's see. Do you know of if normal printer paper is archival? Just curious. I don't know. I would guess not, but I actually don't know. I know the ink used is. I'm not sure on the paper itself. I know things fade really fast, so on that paper, so I don't know. Let's see. For years, I've been doing the outlines on scratch paper and tracing them. When I first got Strathmore 500 series Bristol paper, I made an irreversible mistake. I wanted to cry. I wasted a sheet. Oh no. Ellen said, I thought I heard you say Fisher 400 wasn't archival. Is all artist grade pastel archival? If you use the tinted paper, do you always use a white underpainting for the lighter areas? Okay, that's a lot of questions. So first, Fisher 400 and Fisher 400 and what was the other one? I'm going to pull a little bit of a greenish color. It looks like he's got a bit of algae or something growing on his back. Hold on, I have to find a green. I have one in here? Hold on 1 second. Come on, I have to have one green. Here we go. Fisher 400 and they claim that they are archival, but it turns out whatever surface they're using on the back is not. If you take a pen where you can test the pH, you can see it change. It is not acid free, which means over time, over the years, that's touching the front part. So the front surface is acid free. The back is not, but they're touching. Eventually that spreads and that does cause some issues. That's why you don't use tape that's not pH neutral. Like if you're framing or mounting something, you would use a pH neutral tape. If you use a tape that's not, even though the artwork is archival, the non-archival tape is touching the artwork and that over time yellows it. So I don't know what's going to happen with work that I've done on, luckily I've not sold any, but I don't know how that's going to work with, over the years as far as, because the back, like I said, the back's not archival. I'm quite annoyed with that because I feel like that was very deceiving. When you claim your item is acid free, I'd assume the whole thing is not, oh, by the way, the back isn't, so, and they're still touching, so that could be a problem for you in years to come. Don't know. Yeah, so Fisher 400 wasn't as bad. The UArt was way worse. And yeah, I won't be buying that again. I can tell you that. Got a little bit of black. Let's start darkening up some of this. I'm just making little kind of squiggles. Start getting some of the detail in here. And I'll be glazing over this. So if this is too harsh, no big deal. I've got so much I'm going to be doing on top. Now, I'm not going to make him look quite as, he's got that like fuzzy algae looking growing on him, or I don't know. I don't actually know that much about manatees. I apologize. It looks like algae. But I'm not going to go too detailed on that. I just want to get a hint of some of this in here. I'm letting it blend in with the green that's there. We'll start pulling in some black too. Darken this up a lot. What was the other question? If you use tinted paper, do you always use a white underpainting for the lighter areas? Nope, I don't. I try to use pencils. If it's for colored pencils, I try to use pencils that are opaque enough that they're going to show up over it. We've got this dark area comes down here. It's kind of messy. Gypsy Heart said, do UV varnish sprays help with light fastness? Piece in Inktense, if I spray it with some UV varnish spray and then put it behind the UV glass, would that help it longer from fading? Absolutely. Any of your work that you put behind UV glass or use a UV spray on, it's going to extend that. So absolutely. Does that make it perfect to where I'm comfortable selling it? For me, no, probably not. I want to see, I wish someone has, well, I need to do some tests on my own to see how much of a difference it makes because I've got the stuff here to do that test. But I wish that more testing was done so we knew like, okay, how long under these circumstances will it take for it to fade? But yeah, no, anytime you put it, any work, and I would recommend that even if you're using light fast products, using UV glass is a good idea. That's always a good idea for keeping your work. Oh, this is not Mars Black. That's why that's so light. That's Ivory Black from the live stream last week. Hold on. I need Mars Black. That is why it's too light. Ivory Black is fairly, yeah, there we go. Ivory Black is kind of translucent, whereas Mars Black, which I think is what I just, yeah, making sure that is what I grabbed. Mars Black is going to be more opaque. So more often than not, I go for the Mars Black. I use both, but Mars is my preference. Let's see. Thank you for inspiring my son Leonidas and myself to create always. Love having my kids as a painting buddy. That's fun. That is so cool. My mom, when I was a kid, my mom's always done a lot of crafty things. But one of the things I always remember, like I loved doing, ooh, too much. See, I make mistakes all the time. You just have to learn how to fix them. Don't panic when something you're like, that's not what I wanted. But she would go to like whatever art supply store. I don't even know what it was when I was a kid. So we're talking back in the early 80s that we were doing this. But she would get those little like, not clay, plaster figurines and paint them. And she was so good. Okay, I was a child. So of course maybe they're not as good as I remember. But I remember her as being so beautiful. But she would get some and let my sister and I paint too. So that was always, I love the memories of doing stuff like that with my mom. Lee said, I tried to use the Inktense on the rough side. What a mess. Yeah, that would not be my preference. Now, he's starting to dry, but I didn't actually take the hairdryer to him yet. I'm not too worried about that at this point. This is okay for me to have it blend in. It gives me a little bit of a softer look on these brush strokes with the gray that I had as a base. But remember, because that gray is wet, it is going to lighten the colors that I'm putting on here. So I may have to do a couple layers to get it to be as dark as I want. And when I glaze, that'll smooth a lot of this out too. Jason said, have you seen the masters like Van Gogh? I did a drawing of one of his paintings and all brush strokes. Does the build up of the painting provide a end effect? I have no idea what you're asking. I'm sorry, my brain is not functioning well enough to understand that. Have you seen the masters like Van Gogh? There's a grammar issue in there somewhere. I did a BMW of one of his paintings and all brush strokes. Does the build up of the painting provide a better end effect? I have no idea what you're asking. I'm sorry. Which UV varnish do you recommend? I don't remember the brand. I want to say it was Krylon, which I'm sure there are better than. Krylon's kind of a cheapy one that I found at Hobby Lobby. But I don't have one that I would say this is the brand I recommend, because I honestly haven't done enough research and I'm afraid I'd give you bad advice. I used that, I'm almost positive it was Krylon and it was fine. But I think I've heard that there are better, and I've not done my research on that yet. I don't care if these shadows are exact. I just want them to be pretty close. Okay, I'm going to add a bunch of teal in with the black here. We're going to darken up this area. Oops, too dark. More white, more gray. Too much. See, you're going to have stuff that didn't quite come out as planned. Just keep working back and forth until you get the results you want. And I see this all the time with newer students where they freak out like, oh my God, that's not what I wanted. It looks terrible. Paint over it. You're not done with it. You didn't ruin anything. Paint over it. Your can opening in the other room. I think my husband's drinking my carbonated water in there. I don't want to share. We have a bunch of the other flavors, but this one we're both obsessed with, but we don't have very much of it. So I'm getting all greedy. It's my water. put that in there. Now this is a bit rough, so what I'm going to do, rinse that brush, come back with my gray, let that blend a little bit. There we go. Okay, we've got some shading on his face. Let's get some of that darker bluish gray color. There's an artist in the US, amazing portrait artist in pastels and oils. She's been using UArt on commission portraits because, whoops, that just scrolled. Because it's her full-time job. I wonder if she knows the I don't think anyone knew. No one bothered to test it. No one thought to test the back until someone I knew who did. And they did the testing, very expensive testing, and yeah, sure enough, because they want to know for their work, but they don't want to like start a bunch of drama, so she's like, I want to stay out of it. But yeah, it's disturbing. I got the pen myself. There's a hair in there. I got the pen myself to test it. Now that's not the same as the lab test she ended up doing, but yeah, that was disturbing. Okay, hair, come out. There you are. And a lot of artists don't know. And I know of at least one artist who knows and doesn't care. He's still using it. And he's just like, I don't care. I think it's fine. Okay. Because it works for his technique. And he's not willing to give that up because he thinks whatever. So I think a lot of people, even knowing, will still choose to use it because they just like it. And it's cheap. I mean, for sanded paper, UArt's cheap, so that's an added bonus, I guess. And honestly, here's the thing with that, though. We don't know how, because they haven't done a bunch of tests. Like, no one knows. No one even knew that. But we don't know how long it's going to take to be an issue. If it doesn't start causing issues for 75 years, then I don't care. It's fine. Like, I would still use it. But if it causes an issue in 20 years, that's an issue. So we just don't know at this point. So we need to get this dark around the front here, on this little cheek. Again, that's starting to get dry, so I'm going to pull up some of the gray and let it mix in right in between. Oops, I went too much. Now let's pull some more black in there. There we go. Okay, I'm going to need to go ahead and dry this, and we can start glaze. I'm going to dry it. We're going to do a glaze. We'll dry it again, and then we're going to draw the detail of his face back in. Angela, I'm using hooker screen, but it doesn't matter which one. Honestly, it doesn't matter. That was just what I grabbed. Cynthia said, is glazing only done with paints labeled transparent? No, you can glaze. You can thin them out with water or with a glazing medium and make them more translucent, but the transparent paints usually work better. But no, there are more colors that are all of the paints are going to be semi-translucent with the exception maybe of titanium white, black, unbleached titanium white. Like there are a few exceptions. But the majority of the paints are at least semi-translucent. So when you thin that with water or with a glazing medium, that's going to allow you to use it as a glaze, even if it is a more opaque color. Monica said, my family enjoys the bubbly waters a lot too. Green apple and orange are my favorites right now. My grandpa despises the grapefruit flavor. I've not tried grapefruit. I don't think I would like that. We tried the apple one. I think we liked that one. I really like the peach, and there's a coconut. It's not bubbly. It's another brand. I forget which one has that one. Lachri has a coconut one that I like. But right now, that blueberry pomegranate is just the best. I like strawberry, too. Oops. Where were we? Kay said, will you be putting a shadow of the Manatee on the sea floor? If so, can't wait to see you paint it. I have a hard time with painting the shadows. No, I'm not planning on putting a shadow. There's not much on the reference photo. This is such a bright, like, it's so, the light is so dispersed in the photo I'm using. I don't even see, there's a hint of a shadow, but no, I'm not planning on putting one. And depending on where the light is coming, so if it's more behind him, the shadow would be kind of out of view anyway. It would depend on where I guess you put that. But no, I'm not planning on putting one on this one. If I did, I would be using an airbrush, and I'm not using an airbrush tonight, so I am not going to. Okay, I've had far less caffeine than usual today, so yeah, I need that. Let's see. Okay, next I was going to do a light glaze, and I want to use I'm going to use transparent mixing white on mine to lighten it a bit, if I can find it. Or I'll just throw it on the floor, that works too. So I'm going to kind of lighten all of this up, throw a little bit. Oh, my chat just disappeared, and it's back. That was weird. Vic said, I have yet to give you a compliment. I think, excuse me, I think on this channel or a MeWe, but what you are able to do with this medium is magical. It's like you're an illusionist on canvas. Bravo. Thank you. Tallulah said, hi, Lisa. Sorry. It's payday for me, so I'm shopping while watching. Do you think I need a daylight lamp? Oh, actually, yes. And that's not just me being like ridiculous like I usually am. No, a daylight lamp of some sort. And you don't have to get like, Light used to be the one, like you had to get Light, but it was $125 if you got it on sale. The one that I used to use. So now these are like $50 on Amazon. And there's a huge variety. I've got another type of daylight lamp that's like $15. It's smaller, but it's over my palette. Yes, you want a daylight lamp for sure. And luckily, they're not terribly expensive. I had a student who came in one day with her work, and she was really unhappy. She's like, why are these so purple? Because you painted them purple? Well, look green at home. What lights are you using? And it was her lights. But it was such a drastic difference from what you get under not daylight lamps versus daylight lamps. Carla, thank you so much for the super chat. I'm going to cough through it. This is so sweet. Like goosebumps. Yeah, I don't know why that makes me so gooey when people give me super chats. Thank you. Let's see. Can I do a turtle? Heather said, can I do a turtle in a surreal style soon, please? A turtle or like a sea turtle or a land turtle? What are you looking for? Yeah, give me some more requests there. I'm interested in both. Miriam said, your Manatee is looking great. It could be on another art supply cover. Thanks. This is scrolling too much. The painted hairbrush said, question about brush and pencil titanium white. I found that when I paint it on my drawing and let it dry, it tends to flake off when I try to color over. Any advice? So you're not letting it dry long enough. Depending on how thick it is and the humidity and the temperature and all that stuff, it'll feel dry to the touch. But if you push very hard on it before it's really cured, and sometimes I keep waiting longer and longer. I haven't had a hard time with it, flaking it after like 20 minutes, but I'm not super pushing on it really hard. So that may be part of it, but letting it may be my humidity or the temperature or any number of things that may make it shorter or longer on that time period. But if it's flaking off, it's because it's not dried all the way yet. The other thing with that product, you want to remember, it's non-flexible. So if you were to use it and then like roll the painting up, it could flake off there. So make sure it stays on stays totally flat. So let's get a little bit of a glaze. We're just going to use some titanium white. I'm going to soften all this. Let's pull a little bit of phthalo blue on the darker areas right in there. I'm going to let that blend out. I'm going to pull some in here. Use a bit more water. So this is going to help push him back into the water. Just let that fade up. And so it also tones down the harsher brush strokes I had earlier. So I could have taken the time to smooth them out, or I knew I was going to glaze over it, so, and that would tone it down, so I could be fairly lazy and not worry about it. Just a little bit over this area. I want to darken that up even more. I'm going to actually use the ivory black here because it is translucent. It'll work pretty well for this. I really want to darken this up. And I'm going to let that blend out. I can take a mop brush here. Oh, not that one. That's the one I need to clean. Just soften that. I can let the brush strokes be there. I just want it to soften a bit. Rinse that brush out. It is starting to dry a bit too much here, so add a little bit of water. I'm going to pull that shadow up because mine's a little bit too much of a racing stripe. Let's let that fade in both directions a bit more. There we go. Okay, we're going to dry this and go ahead and draw in the other details. I'm not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming. I apologize. I don't know why that is. Casey said, you definitely have to try the blackberry bubbly if you haven't. I have. That was previously one of my other favorites. This one blows it out of the water, though. I hope this error isn't going to be the bright yellow thing going across the screen for too long. I apologize if you guys are getting buffering. The painted hair, oh, I got that one. Excited for your watercolor pencil live stream. It's been a while. Still hoping for an Edgar review because I love your reviews. I need to do one. Like, oh, gosh, there's so much stuff I need to do. I have the longest list of stuff I need to do. Thank you, Mary. Mary said, keep up the great work. I learn something new every time I watch. Thank you for the super chat. You guys are just, wow. Thank you so much. Let's see. Scroll too far. Monica said, have you ever tried Zevia? It's a pop made with stevia. I can't do stevia. Stevia makes me really sick, the headaches and the nausea. And the more I drink it, like I thought that wasn't what was causing it. And I was drinking it a lot for weeks and weeks. God, no, it was more like months. And I got to where I was so fatigued and so nauseated all the time. And I didn't realize that's what it was. And when I finally stopped drinking that, it went away, and every time I drink it now that I know what to look for, yeah, I can't have stevia at all, unfortunately. It makes me really sick. Let's see. Gypsy Heart said, how goes your B-mount grind? I have one more day till I unlock the rep, then I start the grind. Eek! I got him, and I need to send pictures to, every time I'm flying around on him, I think of Nick, because Nick, our moderator, is one of them. He has bees. He's a beekeeper, so I got him... I need to let that set for a minute more. I got him like a month, 2 months ago. I got him a while back. I really spent a lot of time. Like I, over the top, worked on that to rush through it. Okay, let's see. Heather said, either will do, but sea turtle first. I was tempted to do a sea turtle not tonight actually, but I wasn't sure I could get it done in 2 hours. Yes. Carla said, you're welcome. We so appreciate you. Thank you so much. Tallulah said, thank you. I'll play this back for my husband tomorrow to justify my actions. No, the lights make such a... Are you shocked I remembered what we were talking about? I'm a little shocked right now. Those lights make such a difference in your work. Before I got mine, God, this would have been around 2001, 2002. I would have it in I had lights, like normal daylight, or not daylight lights, just normal indoor lights. It was a directional, like 3 bulbs on a thing that was attached to the wall in my apartment, and that would just shine on the thing. I would take it outside in the day and realize, wow, things aren't even I thought I had things blended so smooth. They weren't. So my color was okay, but I still couldn't see enough. Like it was crazy, the difference. And then the student that had the purple trees that were supposed to be green yeah, that's good proof too. Thank you, Danielle. Jason said, I have to stay away from the blueberry pomegranate because it is always great. Thank you, Jennifer, for the super chat. You are amazing with a cute little teal. Is that a dancing pear? Thank you so much, guys. Oh my gosh. I'm going to get all gooey again. Not crying. I'm not crying. I'm not crying. You're crying. I'm good. Okay. Pay attention. There we go. Me, not you. So now what I can do, so I want to draw in his face. I don't want to freehand it. This is the thing that's so cool. I mean, this one's easy enough. You could easily freehand it, but look, let's make it easier. Look I can just stick him on there, line him up where he goes. Get it pretty close. Whenever you line it up, you can see where you went outside the lines a bit. Take my transfer paper and now transfer his little face and his fin and anything else I want. And this is really handy when you're doing something that's very elaborate, when you're layering like this. And then you don't have to keep redrawing the same thing that you might have painted over. Make your life easier when you can. I want to get as many paintings done as I can in my life, and finding shortcuts is a way to do that. There we go. Now I can see where those lines were. Oops, let's get this one in. Let's see. Danielle said, did I miss everything? Well, about an hour and a half. Just a bit. Okay, so I'm just going to use my liner brush. This is a number 1, that's synthetic hog-haired liner brush. I'm just going to go ahead and put the hint of where his eye is going to go. And then I can shadow that with another brush. Actually, we'll let that one dry, just so I don't smudge it. And let's go ahead and use it. Now remember with the liner brush, well, with any brush, the harder you push, the thicker your line is. So if you want a nice thin line, just barely let the brush touch the canvas. You don't need some crazy pen. I know I used to look for some like device that would help me to get thinner lines. You don't need any of that. You need to learn how to use the liner brush. We've got some wrinkles around his arm here. And a lot of this is going to be with white, so we'll come back through with that. Okay. Thank you, Kay. She sent me a little dancing pineapple guy. Oh, he's in a mirror. How cute. Thank you so much. Oh my gosh. You guys, are you, like, I have to wonder, are you trying to make me cry? It's like when people are too nice to me, it makes me cry. Thank you guys so much. Is that a pineapple? Or not, I keep saying pineapple, a pear? I don't know what he is, but he's really cute. Let's see. Miriam said, same here about artificial sweeteners or stevia. Have to check ingredients because companies will sneak it in. Yeah, I can't do any type of artificial. And people are like, well, stevia is natural. And it naturally makes me sick. So, because people will argue, it can't make you sick. It's natural. Lots of natural things make me sick. So does wheat. I can't have that. So, thank you. Seriously, though, with the super chats, guys, I really appreciate it. And I also, please don't feel like obligated that I'm begging you or anything like that to give those. I'm just happy you guys are here hanging out with me. I really appreciate that. Okay. So now we're going to start doing a little bit more of the shading, and we can also start we're going to make ours a little different. We're going to have the little reflection of the light going around his body. I apologize. I'm getting a notification that we are not having smooth streaming. Hopefully that clears itself up. Gypsy Heart said, would you or have you ever done a tutorial on how to paint different hair textures in acrylic, like curly hair, straight hair, etc.? I should do that. That's a good idea. Sarah said, I love to see people painting with acrylic paint because I'm too slow and I always end up destroying my brushes. Okay, let's see. So let's go ahead. Now is this dry enough? It should be dry enough. I'm going to draw these in. I usually just freehand these, but I want to draw it so that you guys can see this is what I would recommend if you're, where did that pencil go? Okay, I just saw it a minute ago. Got an easel that has this nice shelf under it for all my stuff to go. Yeah, it just means I can throw more crap and then lose things even better. It did not help me not to lose stuff. There it is. Okay, so I still have to do the shading around where I put the black in the eyes and all of that, but we're gonna start putting in the little curves, and it has to curve. This is not a straight zigzag or cross type shape here. They will meet, kind of fan out there, but we want to make sure these are curved. This is gonna be the rays of light, or the light kind of bouncing around from the surface that we did. Let's see. What are your opinions on the Simply Simmons acrylic brushes? I want to try them. I like them. I'm actually a big fan of them. This one here is a Simply Simmons. I've got a few of them over here. I am definitely a fan. Wade's on his back with his tongue hanging out to the side and his arm or his legs straight up. I wonder if I can get it. Hold on. Oh, my phone's not over here. I have no idea where my phone is. That's weird. It's usually... Huh. Well, I can't get a photo, but that's, I don't know if I can get the hold on. I have to share this with you guys. Unfortunately, you won't probably see his tongue. They're funny. There is Wade. Right there. And his tongue is hanging out the side of his mouth while laying like that. Greyhounds are not quite as graceful and elegant as you might think they are. They're actually big klutzes and they sleep goofy. Let's see. Andrea said, I'm doing my best to keep watching, but alas, I have a demanding German Shepherd puppy, so I'm watching on and off. Manatees are my favorite animals. I like German Shepherds. They're so sweet. Let's see. Jason said, write it on your pad of paper. What was I writing down? See, I already forgot whatever it was that we were talking about. What was that? I don't know if you can even see these lines that well, so I'm going to go ahead and start painting. Mona Lisa, smile on your manatee. Yeah, it kind of looks like that, huh? We're going to be going over that when that dries a little bit more with the white. Yeah, Joseph says, wait, play dead. Yeah, that tongue's even more, like, his tongue has to be so dried out the way he sleeps with it out like that all the time. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started on these highlights. And there's a little bit of the blue, the teal mixed in with it. That's good. And we're just going to start lining in, and this has to follow the curve. I'm going to line his back too. The highlights kind of pull that in. Make sure these curve. I can't stress how important that is. Yeah, speaking of Wade and teaching him things, he's not as, well, he's a derp. Gibson is extremely intelligent, very smart, figures things out really fast, and overall has a pretty decent will to please you. That's one of the things with sighthounds. They usually don't have that desire to make you happy. It's about you making them happy. So they can be very, very stubborn. But Gibson's really, the things he's figured out quickly, like he was only here maybe 3 days and he figured out that if he rings the bells on the back door, that I'll open it for him to go outside. I mean, very quick. Wade still hasn't figured that one out. I think he's done it on accident a couple of times, but I can't say that it was intentional. I'd like to think it was, but I don't think it was. He's quite the derp. But so teaching him to come, Gibson just comes when he's called. I had to work with him on it just a couple of times. With Wade, he's much slower to figure it out, and so I've been using treats. So now when I call him, he's finally getting it, and it's taken way longer than it should. But now when I call him and he comes, he's licking his lips as he comes, whether I have treats or not. He just associates, you call me, I get treats. So yeah, he's a little bit more of a challenge to train. Sweet dog, but yeah, he's quite the derp. And what we'll do, the ends of these, I'm going to pull down a bit further. We'll end up glazing a blue or something to tone down the end so it'll fade from the light to the dark there. And when this dries, I'm also going to pull more of a highlight up. Actually, I can do some of that now. A little bit more there. Take a clean brush. I'll just kind of wipe over that so it fades out where that highlight is. There we go. Heather said, write on your notepad about doing hair in acrylics. Oh, that's not one I need to. I have such a long list of stuff I need to do. If I started making lists, that's one I'm going to ignore. Like I will ignore the list, not ignore the request. I have the thing that I'm writing on my pad are like book recommendations and actual terms I need to go look up. But yeah, my list of things I want to do is insanely long. And when I start making lists, I just ignore them because there's too much on there. But I do like that as a, I'm trying to think. I may do that sooner rather than later though. Just the hair, like we'll just do the outline of a face. So I don't even work on the face, but how to draw different hair types. I really like that idea. Okay, I'm writing it down. Fine. I'll write it up here. You've convinced me. I think I'm bumping that in front of the list. Let's see. Susan said, arsenic is natural, so is cyanide, and they will make you sick. See? Exactly. Sneak said, did you have to housebreak Wade? No, both of them. So one of the things that's really nice with greyhounds, now big dogs in general usually are pretty easy to housebreak. They would prefer to go outside, unlike Italian greyhounds. There's a bitterness in my voice if you haven't noticed, or didn't pick up on that. But anyway, the bigger dogs are generally pretty good, like way better than small dogs in general are just a pain when it comes to housebreaking. Even when they know what you want, they're just like, it's cold and wet, I'm not doing it. Or the door's too far away. But anyway, the bigger dogs typically would prefer to go outside, and greyhounds especially, the way that they're kept between their kennels and then being sent out to the runs, they go out to the runs to go to the bathroom. And so that's just in their, like they just know that that's what they associate. You've got to go, you go outside. So it works really well. They both have not had any accidents. Now, on the flip side, both of them are males and wouldn't have been neutered until they were about a year and a half when they were neutered. So that's a long time to have developed that instinct of wanting to mark. And they do. Luckily, they've not marked inside. They both wore belly bands for for Gibson, he only wore it for 3 days. The Greyhound place recommends 3 days with no, and it's not even an accident, it's marking. It's intentional. If they marking and accidents, like going to the bathroom in the house for the sake of, they just have to go, there are very different behaviors. Like marking, they don't associate that as, oh, I had to pee, and that's what I'm doing. It's more of, I'm scent marking. So with Wade, because I had another male in the house and I didn't know if that was going to be a weird thing, we made him wear his belly band for about a week until we left that off. But neither one of them has had any issues. They've both been wonderful about that. But that, like I said, it's pretty typical of a larger breed anyway, and then a larger adult that's used to going outside. Really, the only thing I was concerned about was marking, and it hasn't been an issue. Now, Gibson will mark everything outside, and he has, but inside, he's not done it at all. So I'm like, you know what, as annoyed as I am when you mark my plants, and I have to go hose them off, at least I can hose them off, and it's not in the house. Sneak said, then if he's housebroken, he's perfect. Oh, they are. These dogs I'm so in love with. Let's see. Jennifer said, I had 3 Italian Greyhounds. I totally understand. They have to run outside. I learned the hard way. Yeah, I will not do small dogs again. And I've always preferred big dogs. And my girls are sweet. I love them, but I won't be getting more little dogs. I'm definitely more of a big dog person. Like they fit my life better, I guess. So now this is where I start going way off the reference photo too on the Manatee. That reference photo is just a base. I'm going now by what I think will make my work look better. And I painted so many underwater guys, whether it be dolphins or whales, and I've done several manatees years ago. But I'm just using pretty much my experience at that point on how I want it to look. And really straying away from that reference photo. So we've got the little wrinkle around the arm. Gonna get Get a little highlight in there, right in the middle of those wrinkles. Break that up just a bit, get a little texture in there. And just as a reminder, if you've got a question or a comment for me, make sure to do the Lachri Fine Art. If it doesn't highlight in orange, I won't see it. Not because I'm trying to be a jerk, but it'll look like I am. Get some reflections going on his front arm there. He's got a little bit of a highlight in here. I'm just using a clean brush to smudge that out. Now, when you blend like that, with what I just did, you don't want to overdo that. Just a couple of brush strokes is all you're going to need. Some little wrinkles again. My husband is being really loud with whoever he's talking to in the other room. And I would text him to be quiet because it's probably picking up, but I don't know where my phone is. The Painted Hairbrush said, we have a 145-pound Dane Mastiff mix, and she has to be the little spoon when we sleep. Bad thing is she runs violently in her sleep and kicks like a mule. Oh my gosh. We tried letting, because Gibson kept wanting to get up on the bed. And I just assumed like dogs go on the furniture. With Italian Greyhounds, you're not stopping them. They're going on the furniture. So I figured eventually the boys would too. Well, Gibson, which is very common with greyhounds, has a bit of aggression issues when he's on beds that he doesn't want to share. So he started kind of inching his way onto the bed, and I'm like, okay, it's cute. You could sleep on the bed with me. And one, it was super inconvenient. He's 65 pounds, so he's not huge. My tongue's still hanging out. He's not huge, but big enough. So it was inconvenient. And one night he had moved to where he was more on my side, and I'm trying to move him, and he growled at me. I'm like, oh, heck no, get off the bed. So I made him lay on the floor then. So then the next, I'm like, that's it. You're not sleeping in the bed with me. We are not even doing that. So I had a bed on the floor. He can sleep in there, but not on the bed. So then we were letting him still get on the bed when I wasn't sleeping in there. We're like, it's fine. He kept sneaking up there, and I'm like, it's not a big deal as long as I'm not in the bed. I'm not going to get bit or anything. Well, my husband went in and pet him, and he was awake, so it wasn't a sleep startle issue. It was this is my bed, I'm protecting it, and he bit at my husband. And we were like, nope, you are never allowed on the furniture again. So we just decided to not let either one. And when Wade came, it's like neither one are used to being on furniture before that, so may as well just keep it that way. So I kind of like not having to have blankets and stuff to keep the couch. You know, we always had those for the Italian Greyhounds to make sure they could be washed if they got the couch dirty. It's kind of nice not having to do that anymore. So I'm just kind of focusing on little highlights. I'm going to come back through and do some shadows too. And all of these little, just paying attention to where are your lights, where are your darks. They don't need to be exact, but go for close. And this is going to help give you a lot more depth to your work. It'll make it look more three-dimensional. So where I'm always telling you guys, the color is not a big deal. Just watch your values. Dark's dark enough, light's light enough. That's what's going to make your work look more realistic. And this is what I mean. I could have the perfect color of the Manatee and he's going to be a flat cartoon. If I want him to look realistic, the colors didn't matter. Did I get my lights where they needed to be and the darks where I needed to be? The values are what matter. Let's see. Ellen said, peppermint oil is natural, but in concentrated doses, it's very bad for me being asthmatic. My mother-in-law can't really smell and puts way too much around to keep mice away. Oh no. Sarah said, I was extremely stressed today. This live stream is making me so much more calm. Thank you very much for doing that. Well, I'm sorry. I hope you feel better. I hope I stop coughing. Let's see. Mary said, would you consider creating a toucan painting or drawing? Maybe try that in pastel background with a watercolor technique. Would love to see a toucan. That's a good idea. I have some good reference photos too, or toucanettes. I've got some of those guys. They would be fun to paint for sure. Ellen said, thank you so much for this. It's beautiful and very relaxing to watch you. More marine life, please. I will do some. Marine life's my favorite to paint. And it's one of those that I definitely have a more stylized look to because I painted it for so long. So it kind of brings up a interesting, I guess I'm just erasing using the wet paintbrush or damp paintbrush to get rid of the transfer paper lines there. But one of the things that a lot of people struggle with is trying to find their own unique style. So they're not just copying exactly the reference photo, but making something unique to them. That happens the more you paint. When I first start painting any subject, let's say it's a flamingo, I'm going to go as realistic as I can to that reference photo. But as the years go on, I'm going to start changing little things. Like now you see me outline a lot of things with that aqua color that's kind of turned into a thing that's more stylized to me. On marine life, I spent so many years I actually listed myself as a marine artist. I didn't do portraits. I didn't do other animals. I didn't do anything except marine life. And I definitely have a very stylized look because of that now. And so a lot of people get kind of worked up on, I can't find my style. Paint more. That is the only way you're going to find a style. You don't need to sit around and look at your favorite artists to figure out what style you want. I mean, you can use that to be influenced by people for sure. But what you need to do is paint more. And the more you paint, that style just comes without you even realizing it. But you have to paint more to hit that point. I'm going to hit it, darken that up a bit. Mixing a little black and blue together. It's getting windy out there. I don't want that too dark though, and so what happened right now, that paint started to dry a little and I've got a rough, bumpy edge, which I hate, so I'm just gonna use a little water and smooth that out. I'm gonna mute this. I'll just talk to him after. He needs to be quieter while I'm live streaming while he's out there on the phone. Like, you have to be right there making all that noise. It's distracting. I don't know if you guys can hear it, but it distracts me because he starts laughing. And I love to hear my husband laugh, but I'm like, not while I'm live streaming. Darkening that up with some blue and a little bit of ivory black. We need some blue in here too, so I can just take that and wash it right over that. Now we've got these shadows. We really need to get on the front of his face here. I'm taking this brush here that I'm using. This is a Simply Simmons. It's a tackle and bristled filbert, and it's just got a little bit of water, barely damp, and I'm using that to blend out. Let's see. Baby Panda said, with small dogs though, you can use pee pads and paper towels topped off with newspaper for them in the house. No bad weather runs or wild animals to run into. Great peace of mind. Yes, and we do that, but the problem is so my theory with the Italian Greyhounds, because I knew they were a problem to potty train, so I trained them to go, I have a potty crate. It's the one they're in now, I think it's like 24 by 30 inches, and it's got pee pads in it, so they know like this is the little room I go into to go, so they don't miss the pad. And they were trained for that, and they did great for years, and then they randomly were like, meh, that's too far away, I think I'll just use the floor too. So they have to be like, they have now the dining areas like their zone, because they were just going everywhere and that they couldn't handle this much freedom. I guess the house is bigger than they're used to. They were used to smaller zones, so we had to like limit how much freedom they have when you're not standing right over them. They are just so stubborn, and they've gotten worse. I mean, they're older too. Jessie we think she's a bit senile at this point. So, you can't get that mad. It's like, what are you going to do at this age? You're not going to undo anything at this point. But yeah, they've gotten really bad. They got a lot worse right after we moved into the house too. They've just progressively gotten worse about that. So we just set them up with their own little zone in the dining area. The dining room is their room now. Let's see. Angela said, how many pets total do you have in your home, including chicken? We've got chicken and oh, and good news for chicken and nugget. I ordered 2 like travel cages. They're 14. They're not huge. I mean, big enough for them, but that way I could bring them in here when the boys are in here and they'll be safe. Like they're really heavy duty type cages. I finally ordered them so Nugget and Chicken can come join us during some of the live streams, depending on what medium I'm working on. Now I won't be able to bring him out of the cage if the boys are in the room because that wouldn't be safe for him, but at least he can come hang out for a bit. I got them not just for a live stream. That's not the sole reason I bought those cages, but I wanted to be able to bring them into the living room sometimes. And they've never really been in the living room. They have their own bedroom, and that's where my husband spends most of his time, is in that room with them. But we thought it'd be cool for them to be able to like come into the other house and see more stuff. So they'll be scared at first because they're not used to it. But anyway, point is that is coming soon. So we've got a shadow, and I need more blue on this shadow around the eye. There's some blue and some black. And I'm going to just line that black where it was and pull it out. I'm going to have to do a couple layers of that to get it dark enough. But we need that to dry first. Because if I try to go right over it right now, it'll just lift what I did. Let's see. Oh, and how many pets do I have? The 2 greyhounds, 2 Italian greyhounds who are, I say it's not even like I have dogs living here. They're small, weird looking cats. So technically 4 dogs. And Chicken and Nugget. My husband has his snake. And then I've got my fish. I've got a betta, and then I've got a saltwater fish tank. So however many that makes. Let's see. Where were we? Rachel said, where do we find the reference photo for Friday? Tomorrow, I'll post it over on Pixabay, or not Pixabay, on Patreon. I don't have it up yet. I will get that tomorrow, though. So it'll be available then. Allura said, I agree about the listing. However, what your TBR list like? P.S. TBR means to be read. Thank you. Yeah, it gets, if I put too much on those lists, I just stop, and my 2 things to do are so long. To be read list. I don't have a list of things to read. I just, like, whenever I finished one book, I go looking for another one. I don't typically list them out, which maybe I should. But one book won't sound interesting to me one week, and 2 weeks later, it sounds like the best thing ever to read. So I don't, like, sit in order and read them. Right now, I'm almost done with the Spellweaver series, or I think it was Spellweaver, by Annette Marie. And she's got another new book coming out. I'm trying to think what's coming up. We've got a few things later this month, I think, by different authors I'm looking forward to, but I don't remember the names of most of them. So at this point, all I'm really doing is going through and just kind of fussing over little things, cleaning up edges. What do I think would make my work better? It's not always about just copy the reference photo exactly, and especially not here where I'm going a bit more stylized. Look at that reference photo. Where are your lights? Where are your darks? So I'm basing it off that, but I can hype those up a bit if I want to. They don't have to be exact. Okay, let's see. Kelly said, are the graphite pencils light fast? I don't remember. I want to say, I don't know. Go to Derwent's website. I haven't used them in a while, and I don't remember off the top of my head now. I remember reading, it was like an anecdotal type thing, really, but some guy going, oh, they're not light fast, they lied, which makes me think then were they marked as being more light fast? But he's like, they faded within a couple of months and they were never exposed to light. Well, then it wasn't an issue of light fast. If they were never exposed to light and they faded, then there was some other element involved. Was the paper you use acid free? Did you use tap water? Who knows what's in that tap water that'll make things fade? So I don't know. I remember that, which makes me think, I think most of them were fairly light fast. I don't remember. Well, if you go to Derwent's website though, it'll tell you. Oh, thank you, Angela, for the super chat. $1 for every life form in your envelope. Thank you. We'll have to get them. I'd say them toys, but at this point, every time I buy a toy, Wade steals it. So you just bought Wade a new toy. We'll get his back legs are twitching. He's running in his sleep. He's laying on his back. His legs are in the air, but his back legs are twitching like he's running. It's so cute. But thank you very much, Angela. Okay, where were we at? Questions. Let's see. There we go. Andrea said, love this painting, love getting tips and actually watching you paint and how you explain what you're doing. Thank you. Thanks for watching. It's L'Oreal said, have you used the Master's Touch canvas paper? It was 50% off at Hobby Lobby, so I picked some up. I have not. I swore off. Master's Touch was like the final straw, and I'm not using anything except Frederick's. They definitely were not for me. They were very frustrating. So I've not tried it. I don't buy any of their canvases. I've had too many bad results. I mean, if it's for practice, a canvas pad, I'm sure it's fine. But yeah, I don't buy those anymore, or their canvases anymore. Glenn said, it's a part of life. He's fine. Yeah, it starts distracting me. So when I normally live stream, I do it when he's not home, but now everyone's home and working. So our hours are just, overlapping. Sylvester the Hybrid said, have you ever done a great gray PW? I don't know what that is. Oh, great gray owl? Great gray owl. I'm thinking no, since I don't know the name. I'm not sure which one that is. I don't think I have. Richard said, late again, but that's gorgeous. Thank you. We're going to do a few rays of light here in a moment. I'm going to let this set a bit, and we'll do some bubbles. So just a few bubbles. I don't want to go crazy on this one. I want to keep it really fairly simple. Let's see. Shannon said, I have a miniature dachshund who is the same as your little guys, and she has gotten worse as she ages. She's 10 now. I have to watch her like a hawk. Yeah, and they are sneaky. Those dogs are one of the main things that I was like, when we bought this house, like, no carpet anywhere. And that was a fight with the builder because they want to put carpet in the bedrooms. They required us to get a doctor's note saying we had allergies or something in order to do the carpet. Otherwise, they didn't want to do it. And I'm like, but we're paying for it. Just do it. And they're like, well, you can do it after you move in. I'm not going to move my furniture and then move it out to put tile in. I do not want carpet. But it's because of those dogs. I'm like, I'm not living no, not doing it. And they're so bad. Let's see. Andrea said, I have a 16-year-old Jack Russell Terrier and decided after he's gone, no more small dogs for me. Bigger dogs are just a better fit, at least for me. That's how I feel. Like, I love my girls. Absolutely love them. I will miss them when they're gone. But I'm not replaced. I won't do another small dog ever again. The only way I would do a small dog is if I ended up like in a senior home at some point in life where you can only have a small dog. Okay, fine. I'll do a small dog if that's all I can have. But definitely the bigger guys. I've always preferred larger. Like, the personality type is very different of a large dog than a small dog. So definitely a better fit for me. Ellen said, when you take your own pics at the aquariums, do you print them and then enlarge them? No, I don't print anything. I never print photos. My printer is terrible and I can't even get it to work right now. So no, I don't. No, wait, I did get it to print. I printed the labels. I couldn't get it to scan. I don't know. It's terrible, but I don't print anything. I just use everything. I blow them up on computer screens. I've got a monitor, 2 monitors over to the side here. Do you see yourself changing your color scheme depending on your medium? I love how you shade your colored pencil works with the purples and magentas. No, but I guess I can't say no completely. I'm depending on it. Yeah, I'll do a few rays of light, and I'm going to use unbleached or transparent mixing white for this. But actually, I really kind of want to use an airbrush. It's going to give me the results I want. So I'm going to airbrush the rays of light. If you do not have an airbrush, what I would recommend doing is taking transparent mixing white, and I'm going to paint it on this. And the reason that I'm not doing that is I can sell this. This actually came out really nice. And if I'm going to sell it, I'm going to use an airbrush and make it even better. But let me show you what you would do. You would take water and some transparent mixing white, and you can make your rays of light. Just kind of wash those down if you want rays of light. You do not have to include rays of light. They're not even showing up. That's too transparent. Throw a little titanium white just so you can see what I'm doing. But you can kind of lightly come through and get those rays of light in there. with your brush. And transparent mixing white usually is a little easier to control, but that's pretty much what you would do if you're going to paint it. For me, I will probably sell this, so let's go ahead and hook up the airbrush really quick. This will be fast. And then I'll get caught up on some questions and we will be done. My back will be happy that we're done, but that'll be kind of sad. I like hanging out with you guys. My back is just not thrilled with me sitting here this long. Although I definitely did not clean this. Hold on. Okay, let me find my water and the airbrush paint. Where did I put that spray bottle? How did I lose? There it is. You comfy down there? Okay, so I've got my titanium white. I'm using my Golden's High Flow acrylics there. I've got my airbrush cleaner over here and my airbrush flow improver by Vallejo. This stuff is amazing and will really help. Like, even though my airbrush has not been cleaned, this is the only reason that it doesn't clog, or not the only, it helps. So I'm gonna run water through, make sure it's not clogged before I take the time to put paint in it, being that I clearly did not clean that last time. I'm gonna put a couple of drops, just 1-2 drops of my flow improver. Seriously, if you airbrush, this stuff is a must. Make sure that paint is shaken up. It will not take much. Okay. Move some of this stuff out of the way. So I'm going to lighten up this area here. I just want the hint of a few rays of light coming down. If I go too dark, which I'm probably going to, I should have grabbed my turquoise. Highlight a little bit where it's coming through. Oh, I didn't go too light. One of the things that I'll sometimes do is take like a turquoise or whatever my background color was and just lighten up around the edge, or really darken it, I mean, where it might be a bit too bright, but it looks like I'm okay here. Okay, and that is it. I'm going to clean out that airbrush really quick, or rinse it out before I completely forget and clog it all the way. But you can do, if you do those rays of light with the transparent mixing white, you can get something that's similar. It's just not going to be as soft. And I would do multiple layers, let it dry, do another one, let it dry, to get a similar look. But like I said, I want to be able to sell this one, so the airbrush is going to be more my look in something that I would sell. This one actually may end up being a postcard. I'm really happy with how he came out. If you want to sign your work, if you do struggle with signing your work, I know that is a hard thing to get the paintbrush sometimes to work the way you want. What you can do, take your charcoal pencil, sign your name with that so you can write it and have it look like your signature. And now I can take my liner brush, just go right over that. Oh, that is going to be too blue. That's not going to stand out where I'm painting it. Just go with white. Now I'm going to go over it, but see how you can't use your brush in one fluid movement. You're going to do it in a lot. So it's like lift the brush, make a stroke, half the C, stop, the other half the C. The H is done in 3 different brush strokes. R is done separately. You can't do it in one, the brush moves too much, but because I already wrote it out with the charcoal pencil, the signature will still look very, very much like my natural name. Now you'll get to the point, I don't need to use the charcoal pencil anymore. It'll still look like my name either way, but it's really helpful when you're getting used to getting the brush to do what you want for writing. Okay. So I was thinking, well, you know what would give me kind of a neat atmosphere? Let's flick a little bit of paint We're going to splatter a little bit of paint to give us like little water droplets floating in the background without actually sitting there and painting bubbles. This guy is, they're so big, the bubbles would look weird. The bubbles would have to be way in focus and him in the background, so I don't want to do that. I'm going to take a stiff brush and just flick a little paint, a little water or white. So it gives me a little bit of atmosphere in that water, like little water droplets. I don't know if this is even going to show up for you guys, but it gives me a really cool atmosphere. And because these little dots are in the water and over him, it helps to push him back in that scene. So that is it. This brush is one of the Liquitex. It's the Liquitex Freestyle. It's kind of a nice brush too. I kind of like these. They're a little bit more stiff than like the synthetic or the Taklon bristle brushes, but I kind of like those. Okay, so he is done. I've got a couple more questions from you guys. I'll go ahead and get caught up on. Where were we? Gypsy Heart said, on the subject of using water for art, do you need to be using water other than tap for your paintings if you're planning on selling them? If so, filter, distilled, or what? Distilled is what you want to use. If I'm using acrylic, I don't worry about it. Never had a problem with that. Acrylic's pretty hardy. But and even then, technically, it wouldn't be a bad idea to use distilled. But I never have. And it didn't even cross my mind when I was younger. And, you know, for the last, God, how long now? 25 years I've been painting with, wow, longer than that. We're getting up on 30 years I've been painting like this, and I've not seen any ill results at all. So with acrylics, I don't worry about it. But if you're doing watercolor pencils, your Inktense, anything like that, I do recommend distilled. Water-soluble graphite, because the way that water and the paper is going to interact, if it starts to yellow anything, there've been so many chemicals in our water that, yes, distilled is what you want to go with. Sarah said, do you see yourself changing your color scheme depending on your medium? I love how you shade your colors with the purples and magentas. Okay, so I started talking about that, but didn't really get into it. So one of the things that kind of does affect with colored pencil, you don't have a lot of the brighter pinks that, like pink in most of the colors that are light fast. You do if you don't care if you're not using light fast. I know Prismacolor makes a ton of pinks, but they're not light fast. So in that case, yes, that does impact the colors I go with, but generally it's my values matter more to me than the color choices. But with colored pencil, it does seem like a lot of the project I choose use orange. I like using those bright oranges in there, and if I'm going to use orange, I'm going to use magenta. They just go hand in hand, and there are some really nice oranges and magentas with light fast colored pencils. With painting, I'm not opposed to it. I never really thought about it, but you're right. As I look around, I typically do reach towards those colors when I work with colored pencil. I can't, besides the fact that I can't get certain pinks in, like for flowers, I have to they end up being a bit more muted than what I would like with colored pencil, just because of the availability. That's the only real difference as far as like a conscious choice of what colors I might choose one over the other. Otherwise, I hadn't even noticed I'd been doing that. You are right, though. It's not intentional. Let's see. Where were we? Thank you, Mary Beth. Oh, another cute little pear guy. Thank you so much. Sorry, where were we? Here we are. Let's see. I just sneezed out chalk and charcoal painting of a mouse. Okay. Angela said, are you going to sell this Manatee painting later on? Yeah, this one I will definitely end up selling. I've got a little weirdness going on here. I need to shade. But other than that, actually, let's do that really quick while I'm looking at it. While I've got the paint out, I may as well. It's weird, flat, and gray right there. Let's just fix that. Yeah, if I don't, I'll either put it online or I'll take it with me the next Aquashella. There we go. That was a weird, harsh line that was not looking quite right. Now he's ready to sell. But I'll get him varnished, and then yeah, I'll end up. I have to go around still and remove any of the lines from the transfer paper. But yeah, then he will get sold. Let's see. And again, all of you who gave me the super chats, thank you so, so much. You guys are so, like, kind. I thank you. Just thank you. Rachel said, thank you, Lisa, for tonight. See you on Friday. Yes, and if you are not already, make sure by tomorrow evening, I've got a bunch of stuff to do in the day, but I will have the reference photo available for you guys over on Patreon, patreon.com/Lachri. You don't have to be a member to get it. It will be free for everyone to download, just like this, if you need this reference photo that's over there. These came from Pixabay. The one on the rose, I did edit the background and do some changes from the reference, but that's where those came from. So you guys are free to use them in your own work. Angela said, can you send me a message about this painting after the live stream? I'm on Facebook. Are you on, this sounds terrible, like, because I don't pay that much attention on Facebook. Are you on my friends list already? I was going to look it up on my phone. Hold on. Let me write that down. If you don't hear from me, message me. Like email me or something like that. I think you're on my friends list, aren't you? So I should be able to message you. I'm pretty sure you are. I don't pay enough attention on social media. I'm sorry. Elizabeth said, I watched your airbrush video, but I didn't see where your recommended list is. What one do you recommend? I like the Grec setup. If you go to Lachri.com, you're going to see a supply list on the menu. Go to acrylics, and then all the airbrush supplies I use are listed there with links. Diane said, thank you, Lisa. I like this better than the photo reference, and I'm a photographer. Thank you. Yeah, the underwater is one of those things that I can make a lot of changes and usually like better than what I did from whatever reference photo. But it's just because I've been painting, I've been doing it for so many years, underwater stuff, that it's very easy for me to make those adjustments. Whoops, that just jumped. Shaz said, when I did my turtle in watercolor, my rays of light took forever as every drip of anything activated color underneath. I wish I had just used my airbrush. Yeah, the airbrush would definitely make that easier. Good night, Pauline. Thanks, Shaz. Michelle said, it looks wonderful. Thanks for a good tutorial and a good time. Good night. Thanks for joining. Thank you, everyone, for joining. Gypsy Heart said, will you be opening up a critique anytime in the near future? I need to. I definitely need to soon. It's been a while. I was just thinking about that the other day. Rachel said, thanks a lot. I really enjoyed this. Yeah, thank you guys for joining. Check out our moderators' channels. They are linked in the video description. Nick Edgar, the beekeeper we talked about earlier, and Joseph Fincham both have channels here on YouTube. They're awesome. You definitely want to check those out. Subscribe. Tell them thank you because they do so much work. The amount of work these guys do between all the mods really that do over on our Facebook groups and then on MeWe and Facebook and our Facebook groups on MeWe. No, our art groups on MeWe and Facebook. Words are hard. And I fail at them. It's crazy the amount of work that they do on top of now, helping out with these live streams. So definitely tell them thank you. And thank you guys so, so much for joining and for just thank you. Thank you for hanging out. Thanks for being my friend. How gooey is that? No, thank you. Seriously. We'll be here on Friday at 1 p.m. Central Time. We're going to be doing a rose in watercolor pencils. If you've got Inktense, it's going to be similar, and we'll talk about what the differences are there. I think it's easier in Inktense, honestly. But we will be doing that. You could probably do it, follow along in any medium you want. But that will be 1 p.m. on Friday. And let's see. Oh, Joseph said the link for the Grec's 2mm needle kit is broken. I will have to check that. I have a feeling a lot of the links, because they'll change them on Amazon and certain ones won't be available anymore. So yeah, there's probably more things. I'll definitely, when I go update my colored pencil ones, I'll have to fix that too. And hopefully that's still available, we can still get it online because I love that needle. Yeah, that is it. I feel like I'm forgetting to tell you guys something, and I don't think so. And I will send out an email on Friday. And part of me apologizes because I try to only send one email out a week. I don't want to spam you guys. But I will send out a reminder on Friday letting you know that live stream is about to go up with the links and all that stuff. So, okay, we're actually done. My back told me I was done 20 minutes ago, 30 minutes. It told me I was done a while ago. I will see you guys on Friday. Thank you so much for joining. My button didn't work. There it goes.